It's Thirsty Thursday, baby. Welcome to the DadBodd podcast, episode number 107. And my God, do we have an absolute legend with us. To my right, if you're watching us on YouTube right now, we have the sports analyst and on-air host of Wagertalk and Sportsgrid, director of video content. You know what he did at Wagertalk? He said, put me in every goddamn show. We're going to make this stuff click. He's also the co-host of Bet On It, college basketball and college football happy hour at Wagertalk. He is the godfather of gambling YouTube, if there is such a thing. Kiss the ring, everybody. Joe Ranieri has joined the show. What's going on, buddy?
Holy shit. I mean, God damn. And I didn't write that. I just want everyone to know that I had no say so in that intro at all. But it is a pleasure, my friend, to finally be sitting next to you here and getting to talk some sports betting. I love it, man. Anytime I get to hang out with a DadBods, I'm ready to roll, man. You know that.
Yeah, I mean, I want to kiss your ass a little bit, if you don't mind.
No.
I've actually noticed your content when I first got on Twitter, and I was not Gunspicks. All right, so I noticed that you had your own little gimmick going. You invited people on, and all of a sudden you kind of just worked your way up the ladder, and next thing I know, I get nothing but Joe Ranieri content coming out of my pores, and I just wonder, where did this all start? That you just said, you know what, I'm going to be joining this gambling community from the get-go before it actually became legal around the country.
So it's funny because I did the whole once they passed it with the Supreme Court, right? I mean, going on, what is it now? I mean, hard to believe it's 4 years since the Supreme Court was like, screw you, Nevada, you're not the only ones who are going to be able to allow people to bet on sports. My background has been in the media, in the radio business for 20 years. I was a morning radio guy here in South Florida. And so I kind of saw where this was heading. I thought the radio business is dead. But, the idea when I saw Howard Stern bring a camera into his radio studio one day, I was like, this is brilliant. This is where everything is heading, digital content to go with the audio. I'm like, this is great. And then all of a sudden, my favorite things in the world, betting and sports, all of a sudden now you're telling me that this is going to become untaboo and we're going to be able to have content that's, Google's going to pick up, people are actually going to be able to log in and Facebook and everything. We're going to be able to do videos about betting. And sure enough, I mean, that was really where it took off. And I think it just goes to speak about how popular sports betting was. For all these years, we've been slapped on the wrist and made to feel like, oh no, you bet on sports, you gotta put really? It's a multi-billion-dollar business. And by the way, even if you didn't make it legal, we'd all still be doing exactly what we're doing right now. So I think it just opened up that Pandora's box. You can't unring that bell. But I thought the next generation was going to be, forget the podcast. While that's great, that next generation was, how do you go from just audio to audio and video? Because short form video is what everybody consumes these days. And it escalated from there. If you're not first, you're trailing behind. So we were just trying to do everything we could to put as much content out as humanly possible till somebody noticed. And you were the one guy that noticed. So thanks.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't follow him, any of his content along, you can find all that stuff on Wagertalk, and also you can find him at Joe Ranieri on Twitter. The dude is an absolute legend. Before we get, I did compare you, we did talk about it before there, as to explain what Joe Ranieri's content is, if you haven't seen it. I was like, he's Rodney Dangerfield coming into Caddyshack, into the ballroom in this stiff party tuxedos, and all of a sudden he just comes in there like a ball of fire, throwing the money around, and he's like, what is this, a funeral? He throws the money at the band, let's dance, and all of a sudden everyone's lived up. I'll tell you what, I've watched Bet On It, before you were on it. This year was the first year that you were on it. You've loosened the tie of a lot of those cappers, And I love those vibes completely. And I like that's the end of the ass kissing story. But we didn't come here to just kiss Joe Ranieri's ass. We came here to talk a little bit of football. So let's get into a little bit of NFL. Go! And we're going to be firing a lot of plays here, folks. So let's fire right away. And we're going to start with just the wild card round here, folks. Let's do a little bit of a recap. Let's do a little bit of a marination. What were your thoughts on you can pick any game that was on the board there? What is the game that stuck out with you on the wild card round?
Well, it were a few of them. The Miami Buffalo game I found extremely interesting. I know everyone looked at that Charger and Jacksonville game and is still trying to figure out where it went all wrong, those guys that had Charger tickets, which is why I only played that game in the first half, because I wanted nothing to do with one team and the other collapsing in the second half, and you kind of had a feeling anything with Staley, there's a good chance he was going to fuck it up some way in the second half and figure out a way to get it to blow up. And sure enough, we got exactly what we came for. It was a great game, very entertaining. The total was right around where we thought it was going to be. The first half, plenty of scoring, even though Jacksonville didn't really contribute all that much. But Jacksonville now has shown us on a number of occasions this year, they can play one half of football and beat your ass to the point where they could suck and, I don't know, throw 3 interceptions, turn the ball over 4 or 5 times in one half. And you still, the way they come back in another half and second half betting with Jacksonville, if you guys haven't caught on, they have this habit of stepping all over themselves in the first half and come in the second half, and they just hammered people. That's Doug Peterson. That's great coaching adjustments at halftime. And this team, to me, is so on the rise. It's going to be so much fun betting on them over the next couple of years as Trevor Lawrence comes into his own. But I love them because I think there's money to be made, especially in the marketplace, that undervalues them. And I think that's happening again this week. And a kid, Trevor Lawrence, that guy's a winner. He's been a winner at Clemson. He got stuck with Urban Meyer. And now look at him. Now he's got the right coach at the right time, right system, right place, weapons around him. I think it's going to be fun watching him come into his own, but it was the Buffalo one, man. That Buffalo-Miami game drove me absolutely to drink. I've got so much invested in Buffalo to win, the AFC East, to win the AFC, to win the Super Bowl. Josh Allen MVP. And the guy literally gives me the shits every time I watch him play now. Like, I'm serious. I mean, right? I mean, every time I'm like, I can't with this guy. Like, I absolutely can't. But love the matchup this week against Cincinnati for Buffalo. But I give credit to Miami. They hung in there. Skylar Thompson, they took advantage of the opportunities Buffalo gave them. And I think if you take away some of those stupid turnovers in that first half, we're probably having a different discussion about this game. But I also know if they keep doing that, they're not going to be able to recover with a team like Cincinnati. So still waiting for Buffalo to play that full 4-quarter, playing it the right way. I can't have any more Minnesota games like they played or Miami games. It's going to drive me absolutely to drink.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the Bills is you actually look at the stats in that game. They actually just absolutely dominated the yardage in that one. But 7 sacks Josh Allen took in that game. 7 sacks. Is like, now you got to ask yourself the question, is like, is Cincinnati have the ability to put the pressure on Josh Allen, have him make mistakes, and also put him down on the ground? The game that stuck out to me, though, the Ravens-Bengals game. I felt the Ravens owned that game completely. I think, firing their offensive coordinator was justified on that one. I felt like their goal line offense at the towards the end of that game, having Tyler Huntley just kind of like just run a QB sneak with a yard when you have J.K. Dobbins and you have Edwards in the backfield. It's like you can't push it in. It's like you had 2 more downs. It's like this was two down territory there, and basically they fubbed it up, justified. I'm glad they fired the offensive coordinator there. I thought the defense played absolutely perfect game. And it does concern me, though, when you actually look at the Bengals going into this next game. The last 3 games, they haven't put up 300 yards of total offense. I thought they had a good offense. They have Joe Burrow. They have Jamar Chase. They have T. Higgins. They have Mixon in the backfield. I was like, you're telling me that this offense cannot produce any sort of yardage? I think this is a little bit more predicated on the offensive line issues that are going there. We'll get into that in a second. But those are the items that stuck out to me. Let's go.
So what are you saying? Coaching matters? You're saying coaching?
It absolutely does matter, especially when you get into these situations in the playoffs. It's like it's a chess match at that point. You guys are the best teams in the NFL at that point. I was like, if you actually look at the stats, they start getting more even as you get along towards the end of the playoffs into the Super Bowl.
Yep.
I was like, it all comes down to coaching decisions after that. And that is a very important element there. But let's talk about the divisional round breakdown here. I want to start with the Saturday game that's going to kick us off with this one. It is the Jags. It is the Chiefs. They're playing in Arrowhead Stadium. And Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Jaguars, red hot. And seem a little bit peppy going into this one versus a KC team that doesn't really perform as well as you think at home. Joe, what are your thoughts on this game?
Well, another very intriguing coaching battle, right? We can start there from the coaching perspective because we know Doug Peterson, he's got that ring. He also was there with Andy, right? So this moment is not going to be too big for Doug Peterson. He has been there. He's done that. He has been under Andy Reid. He has coached with him for 20 years. So he's got a young quarterback as well, just like Andy Reid did when he started out with Patrick Mahomes. And again, I go back to, we have seen on a number of occasions this Jacksonville team play just one half of football and it be good enough to kick your ass. And that is scary. That makes them a very dangerous team. Not to mention, we have seen before, the numbers bear it out. The whole bye week thing, while we all want to say it's so fantastic and that, it's great for teams, they get this extra week off. Well, the numbers over the years tell us about 55-45. It's not great. It's not an instant win or an instant cover. So you get one team that's rolling, keeps playing week 17, week 18. Then they got to play wild card. Now they got to play a divisional game. And they keep it rolling. We have seen this happen before. Having said that, the part of this game that intrigued me the most was the total. I thought it was completely overvalued. Jumped all the way up to 53, and I think it's starting to get bought. It's being bought down right now to 52.5, maybe even a 52. But I still think by the time kickoff comes, this thing is probably going to get pushed up a little more. And I think it's coming off a 5-1 to the over wild card weekend. You don't think these numbers are a little bit overinflated? It was 51.5 in week 14 when we saw these two teams. Didn't sniff 50 points. In fact, couple of boneheaded turnovers early, including a interception in the end zone there by Goldilocks. All of a sudden they jumped out to a 20-0 lead, and then it was the second half game. And what happened? They played like crap in the first half, and then what happened in the second half? Kansas City couldn't pull away. They couldn't blow them out. They could not end the game, and Jacksonville did enough to be able to get back into that game. And it was ultimately at the end of the day, it was a 10-point win, but it wasn't a cover. They were a double-digit favorite in that one there. And I think we got to be very careful in this one to think that this is just automatically somehow or another. This is going to be this 45-40 Creighton. 53, I thought was way too much. Arrowhead has been a money machine to the under. With Andy Reid and Mahomes. They've taken their foot off the gas way too much this year in the second half of games. It's going to be, and when they didn't have to, or when they had to actually come back, still weren't high-scoring games. So I don't see this thing hitting 53. I think all the value is in the under in a game, which is exactly the first thing that I bet was under that 53 in this one.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that one, especially when you actually look at the scoring that KC does. KC is a offensive road team that, like, when they go in and they play in Arrowhead, they play in KC. I think there's a possession difference. I think they score 25 points per game at home, and they score 32 points per game on the road. Also at home, 6-point differential, plus 70 net yard average. So their totals have averaged 44 points per game when they're playing at home. And you actually look at Jacksonville on the road, it's a similar situation, plus 2-point differential, minus 25 net yard average. But the total on that one is 46 points per game total when they play on the road. So everything that you're saying right here is more predicated towards the under. The one thing that I have a little bit of concerns with is the passing defenses on both sides of the ball. They're ranked very low as far as DVOA is concerned. And you're dealing with two teams that love to pass the ball, love to air it out. So we saw the first matchup in that they played 27-17 as 10-point favorites for KC. I see the line dropping to 8.5 right now. This is one of the situations that I'm starting to lean towards Jacksonville. I haven't got there yet on paper, especially looking at KC at home, 1-6-1 against the spread at home this season, where Jacksonville is on a 7-2-1 against the spread run in their last 9 games. This team's just red hot, and I think they got the revenge factor in this one, and maybe a lean for me to actually take Jacksonville on this one, and in hopes that the bye week KC trend doesn't kill me. But I don't know if it's going to be a big play for me, but this is probably an area that I'm looking at the side on this one rather than the total. But I don't disagree with your take.
Well, if I'll tell you this, if you're considering Jacksonville in any teaser situation, if you're seeing 8.5s, hurry up if you're looking to back Kansas City and you want them under a field goal, because this thing keeps going back up to 9. It won't be long before kickoff where the books they put the teaser stop on everything and leave it at 9. So if you can still get 8.5s and you're liking Kansas City under a field goal, now's the time to use Kansas City in all your teaser plays this weekend.
Couldn't have said it best. I mean, Joe Ranieri's on the show just firing plays right now. I love it. I love it so much. Let's go into the second Saturday play, 8:15 Eastern Standard Time on this one. Hey, NFC East, remember when they sucked? Not so much anymore. We have 3 teams playing in the NFC playoffs out of 4 right now in the divisional round here, and we have a good one right here. Giants, Eagles off rest. Giants coming off a good win versus the Vikings last week, which, of course, if you watched the show, it was an absolute winner. What are your thoughts on this one in Philadelphia?
So, listen, there's another one. First, let's just say this. Again, 7.5s, I think, is what we're looking at right now. Philadelphia, it should be in a lot of teaser legs for people here. Take them down to the 1.5 mark. Do it if you're going to put them with Cincinnati. Great, get it done, because Philadelphia is the better team. Make no mistake about it. What worries me about especially laying 7 in the hook, somebody want to tell me the last meaningful game Philadelphia has played? We've had Jalen Hurts hurt, right? So we had Gardner Minshew we were dealing with in week 16, 17. He came back in week 18, but he played an absolute – Jalen Hurts played nobody there for the Giants, right? Didn't play anybody. Everyone was sat. Didn't look great by any stretch of the imagination. Now they had to take another week off, and now all of a sudden we're expecting this team to do what exactly? They have plenty of advantages on both sides of the ball here. I mean, they have some weaknesses. They can't stop the run. We know that. They picked up Ndamukong Suh from a Popeyes parking lot. It was like, you want to come and play football? And they threw him in there. It was like, yay. They did get better after about week 9 or 10 against the run, but still, they're not very good against the run. It's the one thing that we know Brian Dable and company are going to be able to execute with Saquon and now Danny Dimes. The passing game from the Giants has been absolutely phenomenal, how much trust Dable has in them down the stretch here in the season. And a little known fact, the Giants, since about week 12, have been the number 1 over team in the NFL. Everything you're hearing about Giants, it's unders. It's always unders with the Giants. It's under. Yeah, well, the Giants have been flying over the totals here since about week 12 and 13. And that's because Dable took the training wheels off, started to use them more in the running game, but also started to trust them more in the passing game. And we have seen Philadelphia, another one of these teams, takes their foot off the gas in the second half. How many of their wins were won in the first half, and then they basically just held on, took their foot off in the second half, and let teams get back into it and didn't do a whole heck of a lot? And I'm saying that because I don't trust they're going to be crisp enough in this spot to win with 7 and a hook. I do like them, obviously, to win, and anything under a field goal, to me, is where all the value is. But the other bet that I made right off the bat was the over in this game, because there will be no taking the foot off the gas for Philadelphia this week. We know they're capable of scoring in bunches. We know the Giants' defense in the secondary. It's their biggest week. Although, don't forget, week 14, they didn't have Dory Jackson. They didn't have McKinney. They didn't have the guys that just came back and shut down Minnesota and Justin Jefferson. So I think they'll be more competitive. But at the same time, I think Dable and the way the Giants offense has been clicking now for the last month and a half of the season, they're going to be able to get theirs. And I think Philadelphia is surely going to be able to get points there. This is not going to be a grind out game at all. I think this is going to be the highest scoring game of the weekend. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be fun. I think ultimately Philadelphia will be too much for the Giants. So I'll tease them down to the 1.5. I'm good to go with that. But I'm also taking the over because I think this is going to be one fun game to be a part of.
Yeah, I mean, we saw this matchup in Week 18. It was kind of lackluster at best because we
throw it out.
Starters and that we can't even count that game, so we have to throw it out. But you brought up a good point in this one, and I had this marked down as like this is going to be the game is going to be built on if the Giants can actually stop the run. They actually did really well versus Minnesota last week, only giving up 3.8 yards per carry. But they've also given up 5.2 yards per carry on the season, 5.5 versus divisional opponents. And of course, Philadelphia, what do they like to do? They love to run the ball, 4.6 yards per carry with dual threats and Miles Sanders and Jalen Hurts. That does have a concern with me. So if they're able to establish the run, which they should be able to versus the Giants, it's going to start everything with the passing game. They're going to be able to move the ball downfield. But with the Giants, they can run the ball too, and they're going against Philadelphia, who's only ranked 21st in defensive DVOA, stopping that. But I agree with you like a little bit on the total, and I think it's going to be a knockout, drag-out type of game. But where I'm perplexed is like which heavy favorite is going to cover in this one, because I think one will. I think it's going to be this one with Philadelphia in this one. You're seeing this line setting at -7.5. This tells me a story of where this game's going to go. It almost feels like a Philly blowout. The total on this one's like 48.5. I do think probably this thing is going to excel over, but I think it's going to be more so on the Eagles side than the Giants side. Maybe have a few garbage touchdowns, get you that over on that one. But we have Joe here, and we appreciate you having on the show. We know you have a heart out because, you know, as always, he always has another show to do. He is 24/7, 365 as far as doing content, and God damn it, I will absorb as much of it as I can.
Boom.
Joe, tell the people where they can find you.
Guys, always Wagertalk.com. You can download the Wagertalk TV app. And, of course, you'll see me every night, 9 to midnight, doing all the late slate of games in-game live on SportsGrid, the SportsGrid network, at a cable provider near you, I am sure. But stop by and A lot of in-game betting tonight in the association. We got the Sixers taking on Portland, which should be fun. And then, of course, this game underway right now between Boston and Golden State. Might be a few spots we can make a few bets in there in-game live. So appreciate you having me, my man. I can't wait. Can't wait to do this again. Can't wait till baseball season.
Oh, dude, we're gonna have you back on for sure. I now that we follow each other, I can hit you in the DMs and maybe we can exchange sometime. But I want to leave you with this. I was like, do you have a college basketball pick for the degenerates that like to bet at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time?
Oh, you're looking about the late night degenerate special here. Hold on, let me pull up the card here, and I'll tell you exactly where we're going here. Hold on. Are you dabbling in anything here tonight?
I am. Yes, I do have a pick for the people, but I'm.
You're saving it. Look at you. Yes. I took Arizona to beat the living snot out of USC here tonight. How's that one?
I don't hate that one. Short line on that one. Number 5 in the country, UCLA. Yes, I do like that one. And Arizona State's playing at home. Home court advantage is bigger than home field advantage in the college sports. So, yeah, I love that one.
Especially
but Joey Mary!
The students are back. Don't forget, students are back on campus now, so the place is going to be rolling.
Yeah, holidays are over, folks. It's time for grind in college basketball. God damn, I love it. Joey Mary, thanks for coming on the show. We love you, and we will have you again. And go check him out on Sportsgrid right now, which is on my TV, and I'll be watching him while I'm doing the show. Thanks, buddy.
That's it. Cash some tickets, guys. Thanks, brother.
Appreciate it. Woo! That was awesome. Joe Ranieri, folks. Legend. I want to talk to my producer. What did you think about that interview, Pun? He might not be available on this one, but all right. I want to go on a couple of these games. I just want to talk a couple of leans before we actually get into the NFL slate on this one. Let's talk about. Hey, man. All right. I didn't know if you could hear me or not. What
I had to get added back, but yeah, it was great. Very, very insightful. I took a lot of notes. I liked the, his bye week stats of the Chiefs, Jags, that the team on the bye isn't necessarily it's what 55.
It never worked. It doesn't typically work out for the number one team. It's like because you have momentum going
like that.
Yeah, it only really works out if you're you have some injury concerns with players. That might help out a little bit. But yeah, you have that rust
factor. Did he take Arizona or Arizona State?
Arizona State was his name. Yep.
Okay, so versus UCLA, right?
Yep.
Yep.
That's gonna be the clip. Before I get into some of these the rest of these ad reads here, I'm sorry, the NFL games. I want to get into our sponsor, obviously, the people that keep this show going here, and you may know them as a seltzer company, but here we go.
This podcast is sponsored by Viva Tequila Seltzers.
I'm holding up the can right here, folks. Hey, Pun, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hey, could you do me a favor, Mr. Producer? We need a promo code for the show, so we can give the people some discounts on seltzer.
How about we go promo code Duke?
Well, I want to make sure that this promo code works.
Oh yeah, so you don't want it to be Duke. Let's make it.
No, it's going to be DadBodd. That's going to be the promo code, I think.
Okay, let's do it.
Yep. We'll talk.
Let's do it. Promo code 107 or something.
Yeah.
DB107.
By the way, that promo code does not work right now. We need to talk to our affiliates before that happens. But let's get to the ad read. This podcast is sponsored by Viva Tequila Seltzers. Viva Tequila Seltzers is a refreshing and drinkable hard seltzer, 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and 4.5 ABV. Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebrations as it was created with an active lifestyle in mind. Viva! Flavors their tequilas, seltzers, because flavor is the spice of life, and they love their life with a little bit of a kick. As we like to live our lives. Viva flavors perfectly with their artisanal Blanco tequila for a subtle and refreshing drink. Their belief is to live long, live well, and live it up. Hashtag Viva Up. And go check them out on Twitter and online at Viva Seltzers, www.vivaseltzers.com. I've had actually employees that I work with, and they have bought this product, and they are addicted to it. I'm telling you, it is the best seltzer on the market here, folks. Craig Thompson says he loves Arizona tonight, and he loves the over in USC. God love it.
I think that's what Joe said. I think that's what Joe said, guys.
He said no. Is Arizona? I think no. He was talking about the UCLA game. I thought. Did I miss that?
I think he said he liked Arizona over to beat the snot out of USC. I think you thought he said UCLA.
I think I said.
We'll look at the game. We'll look at the game tape later.
Yeah, we'll check the game film because I swear he said UCLA. I might have I was kind of like just thinking football on that one, but well, let's you know what? I'm gonna do this. All right. If you want some of my NFL picks, you're gonna have to wait till Saturday at we're gonna do a show 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this channel. And we'll make sure we promo the link. And we're going to do a show on Sunday for the rest of the game. So it's going to be a two-day with the Shark and Odds Fellow. It's going to be absolutely electric. So while we're in the mood for a melody, let's talk some college hoops. College hoops, folks. And we have Mike loves Arizona State +5 versus UCLA. Hey, Pun, just put up the chat stuff. I don't want to do that anymore.
You got it.
You got it? Okay. Let's talk about some of the games that I like tonight. By the way, we have a special announcement in that one. Let me get to that first. I wanted to share that with the people. So, as you know, I've done a college football show probably for the past 2 years with the Shark. We've also done NFL content on this one, but kind of the content has taken a screeching halt. Well, we're actually going to be pumping this up throughout the season. This channel is changing. This channel is evolving. We're actually getting more cappers involved. This is the groundbreaking ceremony of what we're going to be doing. So the way I'm going to be doing this are actually presenting you what's going to be happening with the channel moving forward is going to premiere now. That's right, folks. We're going to be starting a college basketball preview show every Friday night for the Saturday slate. So you're going to see myself and my co-host, Dabby Cab from Pub Sports, going to be breaking down the college basketball slate for Saturday and give you the early takes and the early locks for the Saturday slate. And it is going to be absolutely fun, absolutely electric. If you've been following me along on the college basketball plays on Slack or on Twitter, I am 57% hit rate plus 17.1 units. And by the way, Dabby Cab doing better than me, folks. He is an absolutely electric college basketball capper, and you need to follow him along as well. It's going to be fun, and I can't wait to start it. It's going to start this Friday, and we're going to be doing the show at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please join us along, and we'll be posting the links. We'll be promoting it all the way on Twitter, so follow along on that as well. Yes, that's right. We're going to continue the content. the sharpest channel on the planet. If you're watching this right now, like, subscribe, and share with your friends so we can all crush the books, bankrupt the books. That's all we're trying to do here, folks. Shooting. Bam, 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 bam. All right, that's enough of the promo on that one. Let's talk about the late night slate, the degenerate specials. Joe Ranieri just shared one that I probably confused, and Pun called me out on it. That's what this show is about. I'm looking at a 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time game here, folks, and I'm looking at SMU versus Pepperdine. That's right. We're getting into some real late night stuff. This is one of those games you put the bet in. You can go to bed if you're sleeping on the East Coast. Wake up, and all of a sudden your account has more money in it. I love SMU in this one, -12. This number may be climbing, but it's okay. Just take it what it is right now. Look at Pepperdine in this one. They're 1-5 against the spread, barely. And the reason why they're 1-5 against the spread in their last 6 is they barely covered against BYU by a hook. They lost 91-81 at a 10.5 point spread when it closed. That's why it is important to get the earliest of the line. So if you got it early, maybe you actually cashed fading Pepperdine, and I love fading this team because they stink. Also, look at SMU, one of the best teams in their conference besides Gonzaga. 5 out of the last 6 games they've covered, and 4 out of the last 5 on the road, SMU is covered. So Pepperdine is facing the number 1 rebounding defensive rebounding team in the country, actually, for that matter, as far as KenPom is concerned. And they're also ranked 15th in 15th ranked defense versus 2-point shots. So what Pepperdine is going against is a team that can rebound defensively, and that can also contend every shot from the 2-point land. And they're actually not too bad against the 3, but Pepperdine is not a good 3-point shooting team anyways. So two offensive components that Pepperdine is not strong at, and that's what I bring up here. So there's a complete mismatch as far as putting points on the board for Pepperdine. Pepperdine is ranked 284th in offensive rebounding and 125th in 2-pointers this season. They can't put in buckets outside the arc, and they can't rebound for shit. Pepperdine is a bad rebounding team all around, not just on the offensive end, but on the defensive end. They are ranked 239th in the country, according to KenPom, rebounding the ball defensively. Now you got SMU, just a better team overall. Pepperdine is just outmatched inside. So there's not going to be a lot of opportunities for second chance points. And if you're thinking about like, oh, they can get to the free throw line, they're ranked 243rd in making free throws. So this is not a good team to back here, folks. And there's a reason why they're not covering these games, is because their free throw percentage is so bad. So I like St. Mary's playing on the road, -12, and even if it gets to -13, -14, yeah, that's right. Like it's St. Mary's all day long. Also, there's another lean that I have. Actually, not a lean, but it's another play that I have. This game starts in 20 minutes. I actually like Sacramento State versus Idaho State today. I think they're -2, -2.5. Sacramento State is more of a trend play for me. If you actually look at when these two teams match up, the road team typically covers, and Sacramento State kind of falls in that line. It's not the biggest play. I think it's like a half unit play for me on that one. Don't have a lot of stats on that game. I just think Sacramento State is just playing better ball than Idaho State overall right now. So this is kind of like teams that you'll see when on the college basketball show. I like to ride teams that are playing red hot right now versus teams that are playing so cold. I don't think the cold team's never going to turn it around. It hasn't happened yet. Could happen down the road in February. I don't know. But I think we need to ride these teams in January while they're trying to build momentum for whatever resume they're trying to build to get into the college basketball tournament. This is the time to do it. February is another key point, is another key month. But they're playing a lot of competitive teams at that point. So we'll be talking about that on the college basketball show with Dabby Cab. So I'm looking forward to that. Friday, Saturday leans, don't have any yet, unfortunately. I haven't looked at the board yet, and with college basketball, it's a lot different than college football. I don't have lines in front of me a lot of the times, and I usually get them late. So I don't start looking at those lines probably until like 10 or 11 at night sometimes, trying to figure out what direction I'm going to be going in for the day after. But I'm telling you what, you need to be hitting the like button. You need to be subscribing to the DadBods channel, and you need to be sharing this information to everybody. We're trying to build this thing up to a conglomerate. There's going to be a lot of content that's going to be coming out of this channel. A lot of enthusiasm. I know Puns, who's sitting in the background producing the show right now. He's excited about it. The Odds Fellow's excited about it. The content's going to be pouring in on this channel, and I hope that every one of you is going to be a part of it in the chat. We love having everybody that has been a part of this show. Thanks to Joe Ranieri for coming onto the show. The Wagertalk DadBods link collaboration, so to speak, is really clicking in this one, and we are also clicking with Pub Sports. So there's a lot of community in this one, all with the same goal: to crush the books. So, I'm out of breath on this one. Thanks for everybody that's joining. I see you guys, and please help us with sharing the new show that's going to be kicking off on Friday. I would really appreciate it. We're trying to make that thing absolutely huge. And if you've seen my record with college basketball, I'm going to be sharing that information more with a key breakdown once we get moving on that one. So please share the show, and we'll just keep firing those shots, man. And we'll just keep going at it, baby. So thanks for joining DadBods episode number 107, Joe Ranieri special. And we'll see you next time on, I guess, Friday for the college basketball show. Check us out on Saturday for the NFL show, Circa Millions with Shark and the Odds Fellow. And also Sunday, 10 a.m. as well. So till next time, we love you all. Gotta find my closer. Oh! Peace.